to another episode of WineDown. So today we're going to be doing things a little bit different. We're going to let a bright young man take over and host. So without further ado, we're going to turn it over to him.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, this is a broadcast back with my daughter and her aunt. It's important to them, so it's important to me. So I want to go around and introduce everybody, you know, that way everybody know everybody's name and get familiar with each other. So we'll start with you.
My name is Candace, and I'm from Fort Worth.
My name is Jasmine, and I'm from Dallas.
Amber. And Deja.
Veronica from Dallas. Andrea from Grand Prairie.
Thank you. And my name is Kevin. I'm Deja's father, and it's an honor to do this. I enjoy doing this, speaking and meeting different people and with different cultures. So yeah. So we're gonna have different topics. We're gonna talk about spiritual. One of the topics, relationships, and upbringing.
Yes.
So we'll start with we're just gonna dive right in with the spiritual. And so when I ask the question, so it ain't directed to one, so anybody can jump right in. So the first question is God important in your life? And do you have to go to church to get closer to God?
Well, I'll start. God is very important in my life. I went through my own situations to where there's no doubt in my mind that He is real and that He has gotten me through it. I don't believe that you have to go to church to be closer to Him. Sometimes I feel like, okay, well, let me go back. I feel like with me leaving the church, I got closer to Him because I was able to cut out all distractions and really focus on Him and my own personal journey. But
That's fair. That's
if y'all feel the same
Anybody
way.
want
I definitely do. I grew up in the church, and I didn't start getting closer to God until I left the church. And so now I see Him in so many ways in my life, and I can truly say my relationship has gotten stronger. So I don't think you need the church. I think it's cool to start off there, you know, because of course we need that foundation, but really get outside the box and really get to know Him yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
I feel like a lot of people that do go to church, they kind of just, this is gonna sound harsh, but like kind of like sheep. They just follow their grandparents. They did it. They're following whatever the pastor says. And I'm not saying all of them do it, but majority of them, they don't research anything for themselves. They just go off what everybody else tells them, and then just goes along with it. So I feel like the people that kind of branch off are pretty much stronger in their faith than the ones that are kind of just still sitting in church, to be honest.
And I can relate to that as well because I grew up in the church since I was a kid, and it was the case, me following what the pastor said or what my mom or grandma said, and I had to get to know Him for myself. And so that included reading the Bible and understanding it and just getting all the way down to the nitty-gritty of it to understand it for me and how it related to my life. And I agree that you don't have to go to church in order to get to know Him, because the church can be very distracting. You get so caught up in doing other things and getting involved in so many other things that you forget about who you're serving. So it always has to be who you're serving first, and then all that stuff follows.
I totally agree.
Go ahead.
To feed off of that, I am the opposite. I am a full believer, but I am also a believer that we do have to go to church. And the only reason for that is because of communion. We go to clubs, or we'll have friends hang out, right? We'll have things that we can have together because it brings a certain nourishment. Like these people that I surround myself with, I know they're going to pour back into me. My third definition of church is myself. After salvation, you become part of the church. So every single time, even if it's 2 or 3, you are making your own. So I think that the definition of church is very different now, right?
I agree. Yeah.
So I am one of the few who believes that you have to go.
Church
Well,
is a
I'm glad you spoke before because that's exactly what I was going to say, that you are the church.
Right.
Like most people get it confused with church as the building.
Right.
The building is just a building. Church is within you. You bring the church. To me, going to church is more of the fellowship. Because if you were a believer in Christ, you want to surround yourself with people who believe in Christ.
Right.
So it's more about the fellowship rather than going to receive something. you're going to be around people that are like-minded.
Right.
So that's why I think you should, if you believe, you would want to go
Yeah.
with people who are like-minded.
And I agree on both of y'all's opinions because my experience, I was at church, then I left church to get my own thing, but I got so blessed, I wanted to give God His praise and fellowship with like-minded people or Christians to thank Him for my blessings, you know, and you're supposed to assemble yourself around God's people, you know, but, you know, is going to church, you assemble yourself around God's people all the time? No, you don't. But for the most part, you have to go, like you said, church starts with yourself. And you're supposed to believe in yourself and God, and put your faith in God and not man.
Right.
So, anybody else want to chime on?
Well, I do believe in God. Do I believe we should go to church? No, but I agree with that we are the church, for sure. Because when I gather with my friends, it do feel like church. Every time. Every time, it really do, because we end up getting deep. And it's always, you know, inspirational to know what your friends are up to, and you can go ahead and like be a part of their success or maybe even failures at the time, because life is ups and downs, you know. So it's really good to fellowship with your loved ones, you know, and discern really who you need to be kicking it with.
So we got to follow up on that, and another question about spiritual is why is there more women in the church than men? Anybody want to dive in?
I think maybe because we're more vulnerable and we're more open, you know, men. Hey, church, you know, it brings out, for some people, it does bring out the better in them. And some men, they're not ready for that. You know, they're not ready for that. The women, we're ready. We're like, yes, trying to get up there. Trying to get there. And then we gonna lead our men, you know, right on in to the church, you know, in Jesus' name. You know, I think so.
I feel like it's supposed to be the other way around, but it's like
it should be, because of how you gonna lead
Exactly.
and you're not starting with the person you're supposed to be starting with. But I feel like this may sound crazy to some, but I feel like it's a lot of ego that plays a part in it. A lot of relationships, friendships are very ego driven, which plays a major part of why things don't work out or why they don't come to church or why you see more women in church, because entitlement, ego, they gotta learn how to get out of it. So that's
showing up what they got on.
So that pride and ego, they're not mature enough to let that go.
I agree. Church can also get down to the deepest parts of you that sometimes you don't even want to confront. And I feel that with men, some men, not all men, but some men, they don't want to go there. They don't want to approach that. They don't want to get ugly like that because they feel like they have to have this, you know, bravado, this facade to where it's like, oh, I'm a man, I'm supposed to, you know, act or be this way. And when it hits that moment, they're like, oh, maybe this church isn't for me, or maybe I shouldn't even be here, or, you know, just in denial about that.
And the follow up on that is, I think women have more faith than men. I think, like I said, the ego, I think men want to believe in themselves and not God. You know, they think they can just do it on their own. You know, for as women, they, like I said, they believe in God and they believe in each other. You know, that's why they, you know, support each other better than men, I think. You know, so.
We see a lot of older men, or men start to come to church when they're older. So I think it's a part of life too, with growing and learning who you are,
evolving, maturing.
That's when
Accepting yourself fully, because women, I think it's easier for us to go in and truly and fully give it all to God and show up as we are. We're not trying to put on this facade. So until the men are ready to do that, you won't see them.
I also think it's a cultural aspect too, because in some
they
cultures,
can't be vulnerable.
Right, exactly. Yeah, in some cultures, men are supposed to be a certain way, and women are praised for coming together, you know, girl power, all this stuff. Whereas with men, it's completely different. So I think that's also another thing because church takes that away. So yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah. All right, good discussion so far. Now we're going to relationship. This is my topic. You know, because I got a lot of unanswered answers and questions that, you know, I've been trying to figure out about relationship as far as different between women's perspective and men's perspective. So one of my questions is, who is the most important in a relationship, the man or the woman?
The woman.
Why do you say?
Because I don't think men really realize how much a woman can bring to not the table, but just life in general. We are the ones that's holding you up, that's doing the small things behind the scenes that's keeping you afloat without you realizing it. I feel like we are life anyway. We give you life. So I feel like the woman is the most important because without us, there would be no you. So I feel like the woman is very important. However, I do feel like the man is supposed to lead, but I feel like he needs to realize that how important his woman is when it comes to his life, his kids' life, and life in general.
Anybody want?
I'm 50-50 on it.
I'm trying to get the question at first, because I'm like, is there necessarily one that's more important than the other? I think it goes together.
I think a woman is.
Yes.
And I tell you why. A woman brings more to life than men. A man can't be as equal as a woman because a woman brings life to us.
Yeah.
So woman, like they just said, is if you got a great woman in your life, everything is better.
It's smooth. It's gonna run
And
smooth.
the man, if you realize that, he would treat her with the utmost respect. Now I can dive into the but a woman to me is more important than a man.
In a relationship.
Yeah.
I can see
I've
that.
never thought about
That's why I'm like,
Let's think about like you see, say a couple that's been married for over 20 years. All he's going to talk about is what she does for him. And I worked in caregiving, and majority of the time, if the wife goes in, she flourishes. If the husband goes in, he dies quicker. Because he's so used to getting cared for and catered to, and she's making sure he's doing. Men just kind of it's just different. We're more nurturing. We're there for that. We're supposed to keep them afloat. They're our protectors, but we have to nurture them in order for them to protect us.
Right.
So I feel like if we fall down and we don't nurture them, then what you think they're gonna do?
I agree.
Yeah.
Same.
I've never thought about it, but I definitely agree.
My first mind was like men, but then it was because I thought of strength and protection. So that was just my first thought. But yeah, I do love the perception.
I still think that it would be 50-50 because I understand what y'all are saying that women do give life. Now, I may sound a little controversial when I say this, but men also produce that life as well. So, in my opinion, I just feel like the man has to be looked at in a different way than a woman because I know that a woman has to be supported, they have to be loved, they have to be encouraged, they have to be protected. But a man also, in his own way, like you said, they have to be nurtured, they have to be cared for. To where both, if one person, even if, you know, on both sides, if one person is suffering in the relationship is going to falter either or. So I feel like both are important in a relationship. I feel it's equal.
And to add on to that as well, is you need the right man to attract that kind of woman, right? Because let's be honest, in the society that we have right now, a lot of women don't want to take care of men. A lot of women do not want to be there and to go through the hard times of the man. But whenever he's in that leadership role, he has to remain in that leadership role and receive that nourishment, and he has to be able to take care of everything around, because if he's always broken and down and stuff, it's not going to flourish, right? You need one person that's level-headed, that can go through it, but then you need a female who's emotional. It's like, nah, don't put your heart towards that. Don't go towards that, right? So that's the reason why I feel like it has to go 50-50. And as they say in love, as someone who loves you, I have to make you aware of things you do not see.
Right.
So that's why for male and female they coexist because they have to show them like emotionally I see this, and then a male's gonna say, well I see this, you know. So
Good. It goes into my next question about relationship is wow, there's so many single women in the world. Is it because of men don't want to grow up, or do women don't want to be submissive?
Okay.
oh, that's no,
Let me go.
You open the door.
That's different. That's
One at a
different.
time.
Yo,
Open the door.
Well, I would say it's both.
Go ahead.
I feel like we're in this never-ending cycle, especially now with all these new, especially with social media. It's just like everyone's feeding into the negativity instead of taking accountability for their own actions for themselves. So as far as women, I'll start with us. I feel like most women will naturally submit to the right man. But if you are confusing leading with controlling, she's not going to submit to you.
Yeah.
If you're not doing everything you're supposed to be doing, she's not going to submit to you. I feel like a lot of these new generation of men, they don't really know how to be a man because of the older generation not being there to teach them.
So my question is women single because of men don't want to grow up, or women submit don't want to be
The men
submissive?
don't want to grow up.
That's what you say.
I say.
What you think?
The men don't want to grow up.
If those are the only two options, then that would be.
I was
There's
trying
more
to.
to
Yeah,
that.
there's more to it.
Yeah.
I feel
But
like
out of those two options, yes, it would be the
to be
men.
honest, I don't feel like there's a one way to your question. I feel like it's both. Because you have those women, they're just ignorant and I'm independent. I can do
Or
what I
they don't
want.
want to submit
They don't
because
wanna
you
submit.
don't grow. You ain't grew up.
You didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
they ain't
two-part.
grow up either. So I feel like there's no one answer to that. It's both ways. So-
right on that.
Especially with the way that, like you said, with social media and
Mhm.
just media in general, toxicity is very much glorified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually it shows the man acting very immature
Mhm.
and the woman acting immature as well. And that's supposed to be romantic
Yeah.
because they twist it all into this
Yeah.
whole
Mm-hmm.
romantic ideal. And so because of that, a lot of people seem to play into that now.
Yeah.
And I feel like some men feel like, oh, okay, maybe I can act this way and still be in a relationship and still,
Mhm.
get to be uplifted
Yeah.
even though I'm acting like trash.
Yeah.
Or same for the woman, I can yell, call him names, do all this, negative stuff and
Yeah.
still be in a relationship and be happy. I'm using quotation marks because it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Well, that's hard to say though, and the reason I'm gonna say is because we talk about mental health.
Mhm.
If a man is stuck in his ways, isn't it because maybe he's kind of still 14 internally?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But not in that way where once again we still talk about women taking care of men, right?
Yeah.
But who knows? I don't know.
I feel like
That's really hard.
I agree with you, but at a certain point, you got to start looking at what you're doing to yourself and others.
Mhm.
Because, for me, example, I was bitter for a while, and I was just not caring about other people's emotions, not caring about my emotions, but that was only causing me more friction in my life. There is a time where you got to look and say, what am I doing to myself, and what do I need to take accountability for my actions? Because you can blame everybody else. They're living their life.
Right.
They done moved on. And you out here hurting people that had nothing to do with it. So I feel like, yeah, we get it. Everybody done had trauma. Everybody done went through stuff. But it's time to grow up.
Well, and say something about men, because I'm a man. And I know a lot of men. I got a lot of friends. But men don't want to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
They want their cake and eat it too.
Mm-hmm.
They think, like she said, social media's got them so blinded that the negativity and the cheating and stuff
Mhm.
is the way to go.
Mhm.
Think you feel like you're a man.
Mm-hmm.
You're a man if you be faithful to your wife,
Mm-hmm.
raise your kids, and take care of home. That's a man.
Mm-hmm.
But this society now is,
Mhm.
how many women can you get?
Mm-hmm.
That's more the sign of immaturity.
Yeah.
You don't want to grow up. That's
Yeah.
my perspective on
Yeah.
that.
Don't want to grow up, and they don't really know what a man is because majority of them haven't had examples.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they just trying to figure out what it is.
Exactly. And that's
Or
hard.
even if they do have examples, it's not the best
The best
example.
example.
Exactly.
So that's why I say it's a never-ending cycle.
So good. So we go to upbringing. I like that. We go to upbringing a little bit. And this is a pretty difficult conversation because, you know, when you have upbringing, people raise different ways. Some have grandparents, some have, you know, mother raised them, or father, you know, whatever, adopted or whatever. So this question is there a difference in how you was raised back in the day and kids are raised now? Is it a difference?
Very.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Very.
Anybody want to elaborate on? Go ahead.
I used to get beat a lot. So, not a lot, because I tried to be a good kid, but I grew up with my dad in my house, my mom and my dad. But I also noticed how angry my dad was and how much he took stuff out on me. He's a lot sweeter now. We have a better relationship now, but growing up, it was definitely different than what I see kids. Like, kids can speak up a little bit more. They can speak their minds now. And I'm like, okay, I wish I could do that. I would probably be a little bit further along speaking up, but, you know, so.
Yeah, it is different. Anybody want
we definitely grew up in a you do what I say and that kind of era. Now kids have more choices, like she said. And I don't like my nephew, my sister, he asked them, what do you want to eat? Like, we didn't have those choices. It was whatever was cooked. You gonna eat that, or you gonna not go eat.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, and I think it's more of every generation wants to do better by their kids. Like, if we didn't have this growing up, that's what you want to give your kids. But sometimes you kind of hindering your kid by giving them those things, because then they don't know, you know, how to work with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely in my household, you know, I had mom and dad. Mom wasn't as much apart, so I think it made me kind of more masculine, because I had my dad was more of a figure to me growing up. So I think that affected me a lot, just moving on in life. But as far as just kids today, yeah, it's very, very different. Like, they feel more entitled. I think social media got it all twisted. Like, we didn't have none of that. I think Facebook came out when I was in college, so I didn't grow up on the social media era. That really affects this generation a lot.
Yeah. I agree with pretty much what Envy said. I feel like this generation, I'm a parent too. I'm more of, I try to look at the deeper meaning of why they're acting the way they're acting instead of just lashing out on them. I try to sit and talk to them first before I just whoop them. But, you know, sometimes they just, you got to. But I feel like we're more aware of, like, mental health and depression and stuff like that, rather than the older generation. They didn't know.
Right. They did the best they could.
Yeah. So now I feel like it's a lot better because we are aware. So I can look at the signs and be like, okay, you're acting like this because you probably stressed out. And I feel like also, back then they didn't think that kids could be stressed. Like, y'all like, oh, y'all do is go to school. All y'all, what you stressed about, what you tired about. Yes, we're still growing. We tired. Like, if you're tired, what makes you think we're not tired? So I let my kids, if they sleep, go to bed. Because back when I was raised, I couldn't take a nap. Or, no, you need to go in there and wash some dishes. You tired. You need to be doing something. Go depress them dishes. Go fold the clothes.
But,
and
I'll interrupt them that. But do you think that kind of hinders this generation too? Because now you can be depressed and they'll let you slide off.
No, I
rather than saying, okay, I know you're depressed, but you need to come out of it because you still have life to live. Like, now, I think that's
I feel like there's always a line and boundaries. I allow them to sit in their emotions, but I also talk them through it, and I also let them know their consequences. I feel like there are all those parents, though, that baby them too much with that. I allow them to go through their emotions because adults go through their emotions. They're kids. They don't know how to process anything. So if I can't process my own emotions, how am I going to expect this 8-year-old to do it? But at the same time, you're going to know your consequences when you come up out of it.
So on the same subject, because I just thought of something.
Go ahead.
The every kid being rewarded. See, this is how they
like that.
Like, everybody is a winner.
No, I don't like
in
that.
sports. Everybody gets a trophy.
I
think that's hurting kids too.
It is.
Because they don't know what it is to take a loss.
Yeah.
Like, we knew how to lose and shake it off and keep going. Now,
I don't like that.
It's sad for them if they don't get everybody's supposed to win. Like,
But
I
that's
don't
not
like
life, and that's what's going to create more depression
Yeah.
because they're going to become adults thinking that they're supposed to win everything,
that. Yes.
and then when they go to work and they don't get a praise, or
promotion.
whatever, a promotion,
Breakdown.
emotional breakdown, depression, they want to kill themselves. So no, you got to find a good balance. That's why I always let them know, look, we go this way, this is what's going to happen. If you go this way, this may happen. It's cool sitting your emotions, but don't sit in it too long because you still got to figure it out and come up out of it.
So yeah, good. And I elaborate on that. I think the old way was the best way. Like you said, that and I'm a parent, was a parent back then, a parent now, and I think we baby our kids now. We give them what we didn't have back in the day. And like my daughter, a baby girl, said she ain't gonna wear no shoes that cost $200 on her feet. But back in the day,
And
kids feet.
Back
Back in the day, kids appreciate what you bought
Whatever
for
you
them,
got.
whatever you bought for them. So I think it's the parents' fault, well, it's the kids' fault, because we're spoiling our kids now than we did back in the day.
But I think it's more of it's a majority thing, right? So back in the day was like a traditional raising. And so now I feel like it's more of a you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because you still have traditional raising today. I still see it. And then you have the soft era, which is come here, baby, let me talk to
The gentle parents.
you know, and so but it's we're more open now. A lot of people are more open now. Some of it is genuine, some of it is for a check, but being that people are being more open now with parenting and showing how they are raising their children, it's kind of like every household is a little different. Everybody does their kind of really own thing.
And this is the last question. It was a tough question for me because I never understood it totally because I was judgmental. And I had to get outside the box and think of somebody else's feeling, what they went through. So this question here, so it's a hard question. So don't let nobody don't take it the wrong way. So my question is, I ain't write it down, but I got it in my head.
What?
So is it possible for two women to raise a girl and she won't be a lesbian? And is it possible for two men to raise a boy and he won't be gay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, can y'all elaborate on that?
I mean, because you got straight parents that raise gay kids.
Yes, right.
Gotcha.
So, could you? I need you to go more detail.
Well, the reason I say that because when you're raising kids, they're a product of their environment.
I will say it may make them a little bit more confused because then they're going to look at other people that have both.
Exactly. So if this little girl is raised up with two women, she'll think that's the norm.
But I don't think.
But go ahead.
Go ahead.
As somebody who's part of the LGBTQ community, I think that it doesn't. And the reason I say that is because I used to, right? Because it was kind of confusing. Anyway, it was a glitch in the system. I had a young girl, I was actually teaching her this summer. She has two moms, but she also has a stepmom. So it was kind of confusing to me because I was like, then do you have a father? At any chance, right? Because she says she has three moms when she talks to people. But when you ask her, this is a 9-year-old girl who's been through 3 relationships, but they're males.
Okay.
Right? So it doesn't show, from my aspect, she's still girly. She's still hanging out with friends that are straight. You know what I mean? It has not shown any influence that I've seen, right? Just teaching her. So, but when she talks about her parents, it's a commonality. She's like, I have dad. You know, and she's 9 though, right? So that's just something to think about.
And I'm glad you opened with that because like I said, I have a lot of friends and we struggle with that. Because if we see these two guys with this little boy, we become angry. And we just didn't know how to cope with that. I didn't know the conversation was going in the house, or was that they teaching them, you still have your own mind, your own decisions. When you get grown, you can pick who you love.
I think that's the conversation. They're not gonna just be like, well, this is what you need. It's gonna be, and that will make the kid be more open-minded to everybody. For sure. So they're gonna make whatever decision they make.
That's good. Anybody else want to comment on that?
No, I don't. stay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like
simple.
they just come out how they gonna come out.
Yeah.
How they
Yeah.
meant to come out.
They less judgmental
But
if you ask
I
me, because
will
then they
say-
see both sides.
Yeah.
I would say on both sides, straight, mom, dad, whatever, you may have those parents that try to influence them a certain way, but you have that in every side.
Yeah.
Because you have mothers that's overbearing, they want their son to be with certain people. You have, so I feel like it just depends on the people.
Exactly.
Because they could be like, no, you need to be like this, or you need to watch out for this. But then you have some just like, you do what you want to do. So.
Yeah, and like I said, like she was saying that, you know, you got a mother and a father that's raising a kid, and they turn out to be gay or be lesbian, and they see my dad and mom. So it don't really matter who raised the kid. It's up to the child or whatever they, you know, choose to love.
Yeah. That's the same with if you got 3 kids all raising, one get on drugs.
Yeah.
If we all was raised in the same household,
Exactly.
it's just that individual, whatever you decide to do.
Exactly.
It had nothing to do with your upbringing.
Exactly. Well, that's all the questions I have for the day. I appreciate your comments because, like I said, I struggle with that with my friends, and we was, they see that and they be judgmental real quick. And I said, look, you don't know what them people going through. You know what they teach. He might or she might be a better child than your child. So you can't judge people, you know. But then we living in a society now that is very judgmental. Social media has big influence on everybody, you know. So anyway, but I appreciate y'all coming out. And Dave, you wanna?
Before we close, do y'all want to say anything, share anything, or have any questions?
Yes. You just gonna have me do it. Yes, we have a podcast ourselves. It's called Bird Talk. It stands for BU Resilient and Driven. It is dedicated to our cousin Marcus. And basically all we talk about on our podcast is how to be our best selves. We talk about our day-to-day lives and what we go through and how we work through our emotions, our life, and how we can be better ourselves and just try to lead by example. So yeah.
For sure. Our question is, or my question is, did you have one?
No, I didn't have a question.
Okay, my question is, how long have you guys been doing this?
A little over a year.
Okay, same for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same
so
for us.
we're pretty new. We're trying to get it together, but
Yeah, for sure.
it's
We
been a
have
good
It's been an
journey.
adventure.
It's been a good
Yes.
journey. Yeah, we
I can say I love it here.
Yeah.
I love it here.
Thank you.
Yeah, vibes are great.
We started out. We had one more member, but she decided to go her own way. But we just been trucking
I
along.
think with even us, you started your own by yourself first. And then I had my own kind of thing just on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then we decided, like, I was thinking I came up with the WineDown. Because I'm like, we always drink wine and just chill.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
like, let's do it together. So.
Yeah.
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 We started making
For the world to
See,
see.
we're all crazy.
Oh no.
Not behind the scenes anymore. But yeah, it's been a journey. It's been fun though.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I'll leave y'all with this, you know, it's I love being around good people and smart people. You know, we living in a world now that people wanna pull you down. So they try to build you up. So with that being said, with this group here, we're here for a reason. You gotta take heed of that reason. So build each other up, help each other out. You know, if I can do anything for y'all, let me know. My wife and I is Kenya, my wife. So yeah, I love helping people out because one thing about it, if you bless somebody, you will get blessed. But I don't expect a blessing. That's just who I am now. So if I can help you, I will help you. So I appreciate y'all coming out, and I really enjoyed it today.
You good. We gotta do a part 2.
Yeah.
But you gotta, I mean, you get more deeper questions.
I know, I was kind of scared. I know what you're doing.
But no, it was good though. It was good though.
Have y'all heard of the AND game? They have a self one and a friendship one that asks really deep, provoking questions and starts conversations. We actually played it. Veronica, we played with you. They came on our show and we played it. So yeah, get into that maybe.
Yeah, we can do that then.
Yeah.
Now you can get on their
Yeah, we'll come on y'all next.
Yes.
Yes, we got y'all.
Yeah.
We might bring him.
Right.
If he act right.
We'll have the wine.
Yeah, we'll bring him. He's entertainment.
Yes.
But okay. Well, anything else before we close? No? Okay. Well, we appreciate all y'all for coming. This was a good conversation. I really appreciate y'all for supporting. To y'all too, thank y'all, whoever is watching, subscribing. We really appreciate y'all. And just tune in for another episode. Hope to see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.